on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about current news in Norway because as an American, I never get shown Norwegian news here in America, not by American news or American media. So I like to go out of my way every week and learn about what the current news and events are happening now in Norway. Starting with this little article I found on Google about Norway continuing to battle severe E. coli outbreak. I didn't even know Norway was having a problem with an E. coli outbreak. According to this article, Norway has warned that the E. coli outbreak is not over. And I didn't even know that it had begun, honestly, which is kind of sad. But this is why I enjoy looking these things up. Otherwise, I feel like I would never know about these stories from Norway. And what's actually happening, this is terrible. So this is a contamination of, ground beef by the look of it? Norway continues to battle severe E. coli outbreak. Public health officials in Norway has warned that the outbreak is not over and have urged people to take precautions. So are they just having to throw away all sorts of meats and stuff just out of fear that it's contaminated? How did this even happen? I feel like there's scares like this in the United States every now and then as well. The Norwegian Institute of Public Health reported that E. coli 026H11 has been detected in 20 people, up from 17. It's one of Norway's most serious E. coli outbreaks. Oh my, how serious is this? This sounds pretty bad. Overall, 11 infected are children under 13, and 7 have developed hemolytic uremic syndrome, a severe complication that can cause kidney failure. This is horrific. Patients live across the country. They've become ill from July to September. Oh man, it's been months that this is happening. Age in range from 1 to 55. So what are they recalling here? Product recalls. The outbreak strain has been found in hamburger, in other minced ground meat products, where the same raw materials have been withdrawn. Oh, so people are being told to cook burgers thoroughly. Yeah, that's pretty much what they tell us here in the United States. Now, this doesn't happen too often, but it's always like, if it's meat or something, make sure to cook the crap out of it. Cook it to death, basically. Freezing does not kill it. Oh my god. 3 recalls of meat products at 1,000 Rema stores nationwide. Oh man, this is so unfortunate. 712 cases of salmonella. Salmonellosis. Salmonella was reported. The number of infections has increased. Oh my god, this is mainly a decrease from last year. Wow. I had no idea that this was such a big deal in Norway. And this is actually happening now. That's horrible. My heart goes out to any of the Norwegians affected by the E. coli outbreak. Man, be sure to cook your meat. I guess that's all you can do, right? Okay, gosh. What else do we have? Protesters removed from parliament. Protesters. Who is protesting the Norwegian parliament? Demonstrators protesting the Norwegian government's refusal to remove wind turbines from Sami grazing land. Ended up being forcibly removed. This is something that I read about in a previous episode of Current News in Norway a few weeks ago about windmills, turbines being built on indigenous Norwegian land, Sami grazing land. And it looks like there's still protests going on. They actually, went into parliament. From their sit-in at parliament, they were forcibly removed. On Thursday, they were still demonstrating outside the historic buildings, outside of it, and at the headquarters of the state power provider, and joined by Greta Thunberg, Swedish activist, yes. Oh, look at this picture. This is the Prime Minister, right, of Norway? So he actually went out to see the protesters, like face to face. Like he's actually very close to the protesters. This is actually really admirable. I know this is an unfortunate situation, and this is like controversial that they're building turbines and it's all sad. But I'm just talking about, in general, Norwegian politicians and Norwegian royalty are so much more personable than American politicians. An American politician would never do what he is doing right there. Actually going up to them. Maybe it's all for photos or whatever. Maybe it's just a front, but just the fact that he's going up and talking to them is really nice to see. Like, I think that's really nice to see out of a politician. Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store paused to greet the Sami protesters in Parliament. They were later carried out by police, so they had to be literally carried out. Wow. It's natural to stand in solidarity with the young Sami fighting for their fundamental human rights. Yeah. I don't know what the average Norwegian's stance on this is, but I guess if it's actually their indigenous homeland, I don't know what the laws around this are, but it seems a shame that they're building all these structures on their land. Could they build it somewhere else? Or do I have this mixed up somehow? I don't know. I can only go off what I see here. Norway's Supreme Court ruled 2 years ago that the wind turbines licensed by the government violated the Sami's human rights. Wait, Norway's Supreme Court agrees that this violates the Sami people's rights? Then why is this still happening? As indigenous people of Norway, they're entitled to carry out traditional reindeer grazing, but wind turbines disturb that. The Sami want the turbines dismantled and the land returned. Yeah, I mean, that seems reasonable, right? What's the problem? The paradox is that the government officials cling to their effort to develop alternative energy sources. I mean, yeah, it's good to care about like electric power and alternative energy, but can't you just build that in other places? Or is that not possible? Like, why does it have to be on their reindeer grazing land? That seems really unnecessary to me. The turbines disturb the nature and therefore the Sami human rights. Yeah. Wow, the standoff thus continues. The government officials have great respect for the demonstrators using their freedom to express themselves. But are they actually trying to come to a solution to this? Store acknowledges the violation of Sami's human rights and claims his government and the firms are running the turbines must find a solution that recognizes the rights of Sami reindeer herders. Okay, that's good that they recognize that, but then they should do it, right? Just go ahead and do it. Man, this just seems to be at a standstill, basically, like an impasse, where nothing's happening. This is the demonstrators again, trying to protest the wind turbines. Store pressured into calling Hamas a terrorist organization. Yeah, this is obviously a really, really big story and a really big controversy in the United States as well. Israel and Palestine and the Hamas terrorist organization. And I'm a little curious about this because the United States official stance is that the United States is in support of Israel. So I don't know how Norway views this or the Prime Minister of Norway views this and Hamas. What do we had? Neither Norwegian Prime Minister nor Foreign Minister from the Labour Party of Norway have wanted to call the Palestinian group Hamas a terror organization. On Wednesday, after pressure from both the opposition and his own government coalition partner, he changed his mind. Okay, so he did eventually? I think the Center Party has no problem declaring that Hamas is a terror organization. Yeah, I mean, honestly, after the horrific story of Hamas and the tragedy of basically massacring 1,000 Jewish people in Israel, if I understand correctly. I mean, that sounds like terrorism, right? That is terrorism. It's horrible. Horrible. As far as the politics of Israel and Palestine, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just here to understand the Norwegian stance on that. But there's a little insight for you on the official United States government stance. Seems like in the United States, people are very, very divided on this issue, actually. It's been kind of fascinating to learn about. Okay. Norway tries to reduce refugee influx. Refugees from where? The number of refugees arriving in Norway from Ukraine has risen in the past 6 weeks. So Norway is getting a lot of Ukrainian refugees. That makes sense. And they are trying to reduce. Is Norway just getting too many refugees trying to come into Norway? Is it becoming just too much? The number of refugees from Ukraine has risen in the past 6 weeks, but they come at a cost of those from other countries. As thousands seek asylum, the Norwegian government wants to once again cut the number of so-called quota refugees transferred to Norway by the UN in half. So Norway wants to let in refugees, but there's just too many Ukrainians, and they want to allow refugees from other countries to come in? Is that correct? From what I'm reading? The reduction emerged when Norway's government presented its proposed budget for next year. Last year, it cut its acceptance of refugees from the Middle East and Africa from 3,000 to 2,000. Now they want to cut it again to 1,000. Wow. Well, it is nice that Norway is opening its borders and opening itself to refugees. From what I understand, from some of the news I have read previously about Norway and Ukraine, Norway has been very supportive and donated fighter jets to Ukraine, I believe. Norway has become a popular destination for many Ukrainians. That doesn't surprise me, because Norway is well recepted across the world as being a fantastic place to live. So it doesn't surprise me. A lot of Ukrainians would love to move there. A lot because of the social services Norway offers. Yes. This man from Zaporizhzhia has an apartment in Bergen, financial support, medical care, and medicine. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Norway, that's amazing how well Norway takes care of its citizens and provides social services. That's amazing. Really fantastic. I chose Norway because there's security with people for health problems. I'm very satisfied here. With a record high 1,334 Ukrainians arriving in Norway just last week, we've seen a doubling of the number of refugees. Okay, so the question here, based on this headline, is it just becoming too much? What else do we have here? Oh, so they're trying to cut the budget for the amount of refugees they can allow in, basically? The cuts last year were bad enough. I can't understand the logic, because even though Ukrainians need to flee, other refugees don't suffer any less. The UN wants us to take in 5,000 refugees, not 1,000, and we should agree to that. So Norway is cutting the number of refugees it will let in, and some people want Norway to let in more refugees. So is this just a question of how much resources Norway has? How much people it can actually take on and take care of properly, it seems? Okay. Well, that's just kind of the overview I got from it. I'm sure it's a lot more nuanced than that, a lot more details that I'm missing, but it's really interesting just to get an idea of some of the thoughts and problems and issues and decisions Norway faces. Because this is really stuff I never ever get to hear about. In America, we just talk about American problems, America's news, and all that. Norway offers to talk with Hamas, so offering negotiations, I imagine. What else do we have here? Anything else? Norway condemns attack on Israel, of course. Absolutely. That was horrible. Beyond horrible. Oof. Okay. And what else do we have here? some stuff from Reuters. Norway's John Foss gets Nobel Literature Prize for giving voice to the unsayable. This was like a week ago that this happened. A Nobel Literature Prize to a Norwegian. Ah, okay. What else? What do we have here? Oh, what do we? Oh, okay. Norwegian author and dramatist John Fosse won a 2023 Nobel Prize in Literature for his innovative plays and prose, which give voice to the unsayable. Wow. Fosse is known for his dramas, poetry, essay, children's books, translations. Again, I didn't hear about any of this. I didn't know a Nobel Prize was awarded, let alone to a Norwegian for literature. That's amazing. So it seems like he touches on, they say he gives voice to the voiceless. Exactly what does that mean? It's kind of speaking to basic humanism. He's been a long-time contender for the prize. He was overwhelmed and a little frightened. I see this as an award to the literature that first and foremost aims to be literature. Okay. What else do we have here? The fourth Norwegian and the first since 1928 to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. Ah, that's fantastic. It seems like he's the topic of what he's writing about is based on humanitarianism efforts, which is really nice. Okay. What else do we have here? Sudan atrocities. I'm gonna just look through the top headlines because there is a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff. I can't touch on everything, so let's see. Prime Minister Sunak and Norway's Prime Minister agree to protect subsea infrastructure. British Prime Minister and Norwegian Prime Minister agreed on the vital need to reinforce security around the subsea infrastructure. Okay. And they are tightening security at energy installations after the Baltic Sea pipe burst. So there was a pipe burst in the Baltic Sea, and everyone is very upset and Norway is helping to tighten security around that. Norway and Lithuania tightening security at the energy installations following Sunday's gas pipeline leak in the Baltic Sea. What caused it to leak? Why is the pipeline leaking? Following Sunday's gas pipeline leak in the Baltic Sea. Oh. Damage caused on the Baltic connector was due to outside activity? What does outside activity mean? Why was there a gas leak due to outside activity? What does that mean? The cause is being probed. The cause is being probed, stoking concern over security. Are they thinking that somebody burst this pipe on purpose? Some kind of third party attacked this pipe? This is another thing I don't know much about, but it's very interesting. Maybe there will be an update on this in the future, but I think for now, that's pretty good. That's why I really enjoy this, going out of my way and actually looking up Norwegian news and events that are actually happening now and not being reported very much in the United States. There's so much going on in the world that Americans don't get to hear about, and some pretty big stuff here. Some amazing things with the Nobel Prize, some activist things with the Sami activists at Parliament, and some horrors of the world going on as well, and some sad things with the E. coli outbreak, and a lot going on. But I enjoyed getting up to date with some of the things going on in Norway, and I look forward to learning about more in the future, but I think for now, that was very good update, and I enjoyed learning about this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with what you think about some of this news going on in Norway, or other news that I might have missed. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.